I got a Christmas gift from my wife, a remote weather station, and my plan was to install it on the roof, which necessitated a ladder.
I could see my husband going up and down the ladder.
And the last time I came down, I stepped onto the ladder.
And all of a sudden, I saw the ladder and Jerry fall. He fell kind of diagonally.
I hit the deck surface, the back of my head, and my left side.
As soon as I saw him fall, I screamed.
I lost consciousness very briefly, and when I awakened, I saw a large pool of blood forming around my head on the surface of the deck.
I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if he was alive or not, or how seriously he had been hurt. And I called 911.
I was brought to the hospital by the emergency vehicle, and they showed up within 4 minutes, I think.
Quickly, they got him into the ambulance and basically sped off.
I think it was 11 minutes later, I arrived at the entrance to the emergency department, was wheeled in quickly, and the emergency department staff immediately started tending to me in one of the rooms.
It was obvious to me that the patient was in some moderate distress. He was, I think, attempting to be calm and comfortable, but I think he was hurting quite a bit, struggling a little bit to breathe.
Even though I felt he was seriously injured and the doctor felt he was seriously injured, he has quite a tolerance for pain also. So he looks at me and says, "We can have our New Year's Eve party tonight." I said, "I don't think so."
Dr. Harrington was palpating the area along my left ribs where the ribs were broken, and he suddenly exclaimed, "You've got a collapsed lung." He determined, I don't know how on earth he determined that just by feeling my ribs, but he did.
I actually became much more worried at that point, knowing how serious collapsed lung can be. And then I don't exactly remember what happened, but everybody moved into action very, very quickly.
I did not appreciate the severity of my injuries until I was diagnosed with 4 broken ribs, broken shoulder blade, and a collapsed lung. So it then became apparent to me that we weren't going to have our party that night.
We do see substantial traumatic injuries in our emergency department that we really need to be prepared to address. And we have just a fantastic crew of board-certified emergency physicians that are used to dealing with these things, that are, trained at very large urban institutions, prepared to handle these types of situations and emergencies.
So I spent a total of 3 nights here at Swedish Edmonds. Then I was discharged to go home.
When he first came home from the hospital, he hardly moved. He was very lethargic. And if he wasn't in bed, he was just sitting on the couch.
Curiously, after about 6 weeks, it was as if someone threw a switch, and all of a sudden I felt like I had my normal energy and felt pretty normal.
And the fact that Jerry had recovered so quickly was just, I was really happy and surprised about that.
He was back playing the trumpet, which takes some difficulty with a collapsed lung, and off playing basketball.
In early March, first week of March, I went down to Phoenix, Arizona, and played in a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. So that's about 2 months after the injury.
I attribute his quick recovery both to his great physical condition and certainly to the care he received here.
The impact that our emergency department has on the surrounding community is huge. We're the only level 4 trauma center in the Swedish system. We're the closest trauma center to a lot of Lynnwood and Edmonds and Shoreline, this entire area. We're a large hospital that really focuses on serving our community.
So it's really important that we have this hub right here. We are the hub of this community. If there's a disaster in this community, any kind of major event, we will be the place where people will flock to. They will come to this hospital.
A lot of the patients we see in this emergency department are patients where time is of the essence. We see a lot of stroke victims where literally minutes count. We see heart attack victims where minutes count. We see trauma victims where minutes count. And if those minutes were minutes spent on the I-5 freeway, the health of Edmonds, the health of Lynnwood, the health of Shoreline would really suffer.
We want to get a new ER built for us and for the community. And we've all been very involved in that, and so it's kind of become, our baby. It's something that's really hard. There's no way I could really walk away from that right now.
We are really excited that we're building a brand new emergency department here on 21601 76th Street. So we made a gift of $216,010 to the Swedish Foundation to help support this new emergency department. We are the people who work here, but we're also the people who come here to get medical care. Our friends come here, our families come here, and we think it's incredibly important for everybody who's involved in this to get behind the project and commit to it. This isn't a plan that's been foisted on us by an architectural firm. This isn't a plan that's been foisted on us by a system somewhere. This is an emergency department that we ourselves have designed. Having a large, nicely designed, very well thought out emergency department is going to make a huge impact on the overall health of our community.
The work we do here every day is life-saving.
When I go to work, it's basically seeing my family when I'm there. So that's why I do it. I commute from Seattle every day and don't even think about it.
One never knows when something like that might happen, but when it does, it's really important to have a facility like this available to get good treatment.
This is a huge investment that we're making in the community. It's an investment of time, it's an investment of an incredible amount of effort, and it's an investment of money, and we really appreciate the community supporting us financially when it comes to building a new emergency department here in Edmonds.
The wonderful care I received at Swedish Edmonds in the emergency department, and Dr. Harrington very likely saved my life, put it that simply.